Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Tape Town. This one. Hi. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday, folks. Who's ready for tapes? Is it cold? It's apparently cold here. I took a walk last night wearing just this fashionable hoodie. I walked outside. Then I had to go back inside and put on a coat on top of this thing because it was that cold. Today, it's time for me to start actually like writing my resume and applying for jobs and stuff. I've been putting it off. But I figured there would be no harm in just playing some tapes as we do while I think about / work on that stuff. So this I don't know how long this is. Thank you, everyone. I don't know how long this is. We might hit the bricks on this if people aren't that interested in guitar instruction after 30 minutes or whatever. But this is Ralph Paul's amazing new guitar video. Ralph. Secrets to playing great guitar now. As seen on TV. Recommended by Fender. Ralph Paul has taught guitar for over 20 years and hosts his own TV show, Guitar Mania. He became frustrated with outdated teaching methods that left many of his students confused. To make things simple, Ralph Paul developed a system called fifths. You heard it here first, folks. Ralph Paul invented fifths, which makes learning guitar quick, fun, and easy. His method has become so successful in teaching beginners that for the first time ever on video, you can learn absolutely everything about playing great guitar with Ralph Paul. It's like having your very own guitar teacher. Never have to learn to read sheet music. All right. Well, let's check it out. This is from 1999 from Guitar Secrets. Secrets to playing great guitar. He does kind of look like a cross between Jim Jones and Elvis. Ralph Paul. Here we go. I need I got a bowl of oatmeal that I just slapped in the microwave before I started streaming, and I need to make coffee. Oh, I love the gradient on this FBI warning. It's very ominous. Going to work is not a decision that should be based on whether you're healthy. It's largely
using my amazing jump start, we can get you playing
based on whether you want to and whether you can afford not to.
First of all, take your pick, and you're going to hold it between your thumb and your first finger, just like that. And then you're going to take your first finger, and you're going to put it down on the 12th fret of the guitar. Now, maybe you need to count, but many guitars have double dots. So find the 12th fret.
This is a jump start. So this is
right there.
Bonus 5-minute speed jump start.
On the second and the first strings, like this.
So before the tape actually starts, it has this section that just jumps right into 5 minutes of instruction.
And begin to play. Play it twice, like this.
It's like TikTok in 1999. Ralph Paul knew about the millennial pause.
You have to really press down to make sure it's nice and clear. Then play it 8 times like this. And do it again. Now come down to the 5th fret, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hit that down 8 times twice. And come back to the 12th fret again. Now you want to practice that so that it'll be able to sound like this. Notice how I slid? That's kind of a good effect that'll give you a better sound. And if you want to
I wish my parents had just bought me a Fender guitar for Christmas
then take your first finger
so that I could
again.
play along with this.
This time put it on the 5th string, the 6th.
Please
and
enjoy
then go
this
to the 5th string,
little bit of
put it on the
guitar
2nd
instruction
fret
with Ralph Paul. I'm going to get
of the
some
5th string,
coffee,
and
etc.
play the 6th string, open along with it
And
as
if
well.
we want
and do
to
this.
hit the bricks, we can.
Now notice what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my first finger, putting it on the 2nd fret, and then I'm going to take my 3rd finger and put it on the 4th fret of the 5th string as well. And I'm going to play twice on each part. Watch this. Then I'll jump down 1 string so that my first finger is on the 4th string, and I'll play the 5th string along with it. And do the same thing by adding my 3rd finger on the 4th fret. And I'll do that 8 times as well. So while you're playing the 12th fret, somebody else is backing you up. That's a great way to get started and have a lot of fun. So practice those sounds and play great guitar now. Before we play great guitar, we need to understand just a little bit about the parts of the guitar. So let's look at that. First of all, there are the tuning keys, these 6 keys, which will bring up or lower the pitch of individual strings. For instance, by turning this key, I raise it or I lower it. Then this is referred to as the neck of the guitar. Then we have the strings. And on the strings, we have basically what we call the fretboard, in which we have the frets. For instance, here's the 1st fret, the 2nd fret, the 3rd fret, and so forth. Here are the pickups of the guitar, which are really basically small microphones built into the guitar. This is called a tremolo bar. Here are your basic volume and tone knobs. All guitars, whether they are electric or acoustic, have what's called a bridge. This is the basic body. That's about it. Now, the important thing also to learn on the guitar is how to hold the guitar. You don't want to hold the guitar too relaxed. In other words, you don't want to hold it this way. And you don't want to be too formal in holding the guitar either, else you'll be stiff. You want to kind of have a relaxed position that fits very much into the contour of your body so that you can hold that guitar pretty much straight like that. And then you hold your pick in this way. You take your pick and put it between your thumb and your first finger. Your hand should basically rest against the guitar, and a good indication of a position that's going to help you is to have your thumb pretty much in line with the neck of your guitar. Don't play this way, having your thumb pointing towards the guitar, but have it going straight along with the neck of the guitar. And notice where my hand is. It's pretty much in the middle of the guitar. And it's a great way to get started by taking your pick, holding it about that much into your finger, and let's just take the guitar and go up and down with some simple strums, up and down like this, to begin coordinating ourselves with the guitar. So for your first exercise, know the parts of the guitar, know how to strum a guitar by just doing those simple exercises that I showed you. Getting a tune-up for your car is pretty difficult. Usually you have to bring it to some place and have someone work on it. Thankfully for a guitar, it's not a big deal. There are basically a couple of different ways to do it. You can get an electronic tuner But even if you have an electronic tuner, if the battery dies, then you're in trouble. So you need to know how to do it manually. And I'm going to show you a very simple way to do it. The first thing you need to do is to know the 6 strings, that is to know the names of the strings. The names of the 6 strings are these. The heavy string is E. The next string is A. The next one is D, G, B, and E. Those are the 6 strings of the guitar. Let's first of all take our 3rd finger and put it on the 6th string of the 5th fret and press down, and you'll sound like this. Now play that and also play the 5th string that is open. Make sure that you don't press down against that 5th string or else you'll sound like this. Make sure that you can play that 5th string nice and clear. You notice how they both sound alike? That means it's in tune. If the 5th string was out of tune, it might sound like this. That means you'd have to bring that 5th string down so that it sounds in tune with the 6th string. Now you do the same thing going across the neck. Take your 3rd finger now and play the 5th string of the 5th fret and play the 4th string open. Do the same thing now by pressing down on the 4th string with the 3rd string open. Do the same thing now, but this time go down 1 fret. Going down is always going towards the tuning keys. And play the 4th string, or rather the 3rd string, 4th fret, and play the 2nd string open. And finish by going back up to the 5th fret, 2nd string, hit that string against the 1st string open. Now you might want to just start by having me help you, because some people find tuning a little difficult in the beginning. So what you could do is just tune your guitar by listening to me. And I'm going to play slowly each string, and then you could just tune your guitar, stop the video until you bring it into tune, and get to the next string. So let's do it that way also to help you. We'll play the 6th string, the 5th, the 4th, the 3rd, the 2nd, and the 1st. Now you're in tune. You really are going to have a great time. So let's move ahead and get some quick starts on the 5ths again. This time we're going to play a 5th by putting our 1st finger on the 5th string, 2nd fret, and play the 6th string along with it. But we're going to do it a little differently. We're going to take our 3rd finger, put it on the 5th string of the 4th fret, and we're going to take our hand, and we're going to take this part of our hand and cover over the strings a little bit so that your sound will sound a little differently. And we're going to do it in a bluesy sound. And what I mean is we're going to change the tempo. Watch this. Then take your 1st finger, bring it down to the 4th string, 2nd fret, and do the same thing by taking your 1st finger and using your 3rd finger on the 4th string as well, always playing the 5th string open with it. So again, the 1st finger is going to start on the 5th string, 2nd fret with the 6th string open. Now sometimes people begin and they don't press down on their strings and they wind up sounding like this. That's because you're not pressing down. You want to really press down on your strings so you get a nice clear sound. That's a great way to get started. What I'm going to do now is show you how to have some fun with 5ths by taking some different kinds of 5ths and working them together. Let me show you. First of all, when you play a fifth, remember you're always going to use your first and third finger. There's always going to be one fret between those two fingers. For instance, if we had our first finger here and our third finger here, there would be a space or one fret between. And also there's always going to be one string apart from both fingers. For instance, on the first fifth, which is a G that I'm going to show you, you're going to have your first finger here on the third fret of the sixth string, and your third finger is going to be on the fifth string of the fifth fret. That's a great rock sound. Sometimes people call these power chords. Whatever you want to call them, fifths or power chords, they work the same way because they produce a great sound with rock. Now let me show you how to play these and get a great sound and do it in a very simple way. Again, take your first finger, put it on the third fret of the sixth string. Take your third finger, put it on the fifth fret of the fifth string, and play both of those together. Just those two strings. You don't want to play everything like this. Just those two strings. And make sure that both fingers are pressing down on the strings, or else it'll just sound like this. Sometimes that's what happens when you begin. So press down and get a clear sound. That's called a G fifth because you have an E string, E, F, F sharp, G. Wherever the first finger is, wherever that first finger is on the string, that's the name of the fifth. So on this case, the first finger is on the third fret sixth string, which is a G string, and that's a G fifth. We add our third finger, and we get this. Now to go to the next fifth, which is a C, all you have to do is take that first finger and move it down one string.
On my stream, we actually eat breakfast.
And move that down one string. So you go from here to here. And for the last fifth, which is going to be a D fifth, bring this whole thing up 2 frets. So it's G, down 1, up 2. Matter of fact, that's a great way to think of it, to remember it. Play down, come down 1, come up 2.
Don't have none of this
Once you have
talking and entertaining business
together,
going on.
You can do a lot of great sounds.
Oatmeal.
Let me just give you an idea of some of the things that you can do.
Breakfast is a great idea. Oh, man.
Now, obviously, that takes some techniques that we're going to
Are we going to learn to play Louie Louie?
What you
Fuck
want
yeah.
to do is just play twice on each one. That will take a little time because I've played it rather fast. You might want to begin it this way. As a matter of fact, you can take those fifths and you can move them up into any other positions. For instance, watch this.
There is a poll. Thank you, Bella, for
We could start the whole
hitting the
thing
bricks.
over again, coming a little bit higher.
Do you want to stick in with Ralph for another 15 minutes, or you want to hit the bricks, folks? Vote now.
Also, you can take your fifths that I showed you, and you don't have to always start this way. You can, vary the way you want to play them. You can begin here. Come down. So you see, you can create a variety of sounds.
We are currently
and start
tied.
playing and sound like a real pro with hardly any trouble or
At
time.
8-8.
Another thing that we do that gets a great sound is you play your G fifth, like I showed you before, by taking your first finger on the sixth string, third fret, and your third finger on the fifth string, fifth fret. And then, for those of you that have the ability to stretch a little bit, you can take your pinky and add it 2 frets above your third finger on the same string, and you'll get this. So if you play it twice with the pinky and twice without the pinky, you'll get this sound. Going to do the same thing when you come down the string. So that's a traditional classic rock sound. So work on these fifths and have fun.
Fifths
now we're
that
going to work
fit.
with fifths that fit. That is to say, we're going to use fifths that work in a particular pattern to create a lot of great sounds. Already in the jump start, we used certain kinds of fifths.
I love music instruction that's based entirely on
tongue twisters. Now I want to show you how you can do that in a larger pattern. So let's begin by taking our first finger and putting it on the 2nd fret, 5th string.
God,
Play the 6th string open with it.
y'all are just lying in wait to tie this thing at the end, which is why I haven't voted, so I can make
Then
sure
we'll
it doesn't
take
tie.
our first finger again and come down 1 string onto the 4th string of the 2nd fret.
All right, we're
And
hitting the
add
bricks.
5th string with that.
I hope you've enjoyed 17 and a half minutes
Last one is to take your
of
first
Ralph
finger
Paul's
again, put it on the 2nd
amazing new guitar
fret
video.
of the 5th string. And then add your 3rd finger to the 4th fret, 4th string.
Up next, we can do Cruisin' Through the 60s, a
And you'll get
rockumentary,
these 3 fifths.
or we can check out the ABC News Prentice Hall video library, Environmental Science Case Studies, Volume 2, Cassette 1, with like
That's called a
news.
set or a pattern of fifths that can work in a variety of songs. Now, a lot of people ask me, how do you
News from
change keys? Or
1994.
if I wanted to do that kind of sound in a different key, how do I do that? So let me show you how to take these fifths and work them up in some
All right.
different patterns. First of all, there are positions that you use in fifths. For instance, in this first position,
Okay.
you notice all the fifths are way down on the bottom frets. But you can take those same fifths and work it in what's called a second position, and you'll get a different kind of a sound. For instance, like this. That sounds good too. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish with your music. To play a second position
I don't know what
fifth
this is,
in the key of E, take your first
but
finger,
various
put it
people
on
have
the
expressed
7th fret
excitement about it, so I think
of
we
the
should
5th
watch
string, and play the 6th string open along with it. Take your 3rd finger, put
it. All right. That was Ralph Paul and his amazing guitar fifths that fit. Up next, before we get to 1994, we got 25 minutes of the Scholastic video collections, Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, and lots more learning fun. The fun never stops with these catchy tunes and charming stories. Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, Trashy Town, Rosie's Walk, and The Caterpillar and the Pollywog. From 1989, 1999, 1968, and 1982, respectively. All right, I'm down. This looks fun. Well, I'll get it going for you then. Chicka chicka. Boom boom.
Once upon a time,
What about tomorrow morning?
a lucky kid like you got the Scholastic video collection.
We got a glimpse of
A
Pierre.
collection of videos based on award-winning picture books. by the most beloved authors.
Oh, boy!
These stories are filled with adventure, action, mystery, learning, and lots of fun. Get the stories kids love. The Scholastic Video
great.
Collection. Available now at stores everywhere.
I really just appreciate the variety of animation styles we're getting from different eras. I like that these are 4 different shorts on this tape from different decades.
So what are you waiting for?
First up is Chicka Chicka Boom Boom from 1989 by Bill Martin Jr., John Archambault, and illustrated by Lois Ehlert. The letters of the alphabet race each other up a coconut tree, but is there enough room for all of them?
Chicka chicka boom boom. Chicka chicka boom boom. Chicka chicka boom boom. A told B and B told C. I'll meet you at the top of the coconut tree. The coconut tree. Chicka chicka boom boom. Will there be enough room? Here comes a.
So far, this is the best alphabet song that I think we've heard.
And tag along K, all on their way up the coconut tree. Chicka chicka boom boom. Will there be enough room? Look who's coming. LMNOP. Everybody running to the coconut tree. Mamas and papas and uncles and aunts hug their little dears, then dust their pants. Help us up, cried ABC.
Key change. Okay, this is going hard, and I love it. I was not expecting like an Aretha Franklin style gospel alphabet song out of this.
Look who's coming. It's Black ID, QRS, and Loose to T. Then UVW, wiggle, jiggle free. Last to come, XYZ, and the sun goes down on the coconut tree. But chicka, chicka, boom, boom, look, there's a full moon. A is out of bed, and this is what he said.
Ooh, we're slowing it down.
You can't catch me. Chicka, chicka, boom, boom. Chicka, chicka, boom, boom. I'll beat you to the top of the coconut tree. Chicka, chicka, boom, boom. Chicka, chicka, boom, boom. Dare, double dare, you can't catch me. Chicka, chicka, boom, boom. Chicka, chicka, boom, boom. I'll beat you to the top.
How was this adapted from a book? They really put a lot of thought into this song. Crystal Taliaferro, okay. an American multi-instrumentalist and vocalist from Chicago, discovered by John Mellencamp in her college years. Hired as a studio musician for the Billy Joel Band in 1989, she's been touring and recording with him ever since. She plays the saxophone. What a multi-talented artist. I was not expecting this song to slap so much. All right, this is Trashy Town by Andrea Zimmerman and David Clemesha, illustrated by Dan Yaccarino. Dump it in, smash it down. Follow Mr. Gilly around Trashy Town until his truck is full of glorious garbage.
Mr. Gilly is a trash man.
You live in Trashy Town? All right.
In the morning,
Have a
Mr.
good day,
Gilly
y'all.
puts on
Work,
his heavy
folks.
gloves. He climbs into his big trash truck. He turns the key. He drives his empty truck down the street. He is looking for trash.
Stop!
There are trash cans by the school. Mr. Gilly empties the cans into the truck.
Dump it in! Smash it down! Drive around the trashy town!
Is the trash truck full yet?
No!
Mr. Gilly drives on.
I just love the fiction of a town named Trashy Town.
Stop!
They can't think of a
There are
better name
trash
for their whole
cans in
town.
the park.
It just reminds me of the...
Mr. Gilly empties the cans into the truck.
Did you guys see the Onion
Dump it in.
the Onion video a few months ago about the brave mayor who changed the name of his town because it was named after a racist slave owner? So he changed it
Is
to
the
Salami
trash
Town.
truck full yet?
No!
Mr. Gilly drives
This just makes me think
on.
of Salami Town.
Stop!
There are trash cans behind the pizza parlor. Mr. Gilly empties the cans into the truck.
Dump it in! Smash it down!
I gotta admit, this has a nice groove.
Drive around the trashy town!
It reminds me of Animal Crossing a little bit, like the soundtrack.
Is the trash truck full?
But it can't hold a
yet?
candle to Chicka Chicka Boom Boom.
No!
Mr. Gilly drives on.
Stop!
There are trash cans next to the doctor's office. Mr. Gilly.
Like, the
empties
rats are
cans
commanding
into the truck.
Mr. Gilly. They told him to stop and he stopped. They're showing him the trash cans.
Drive around the trashy town!
Is this a Ratatouille situation?
Is the trash truck full yet?
No!
Mr. Gilly drives on. There are trash cans by the fire station.
All Dalmatian.
Mr. Gilly empties the cans into the truck.
Dump it in! Smash it down! Drive around the trashy town!
Is the trash truck full yet?
Yeah, there's quite a difference, I think, between Chicka Chicka Boom Boom and Bow Chicka Bow Wow.
Mr. Gilly drives down all the streets in Trashy Town.
I didn't know until we watched the video.
He empties all the trash cans into the truck.
That's pretty impressive.
Dump it in! Smash it down! Drive around the trashy town! Is the trash truck full yet? Yes! Mr. Gilly has cleaned up the whole town.
Mr. Gilly drives the full trash truck to the dump.
I feel like they could streamline some of the administrative difficulties of this town.
Goes the truck.
Like if they gave Mr. Gilly a route
Down goes the trash.
instead of just having him carry 2 rats along and doing whatever they told him to do.
I dumped it in. I smashed it down. I love to clean up Trashy Town.
But it is called Trashy Town, so I guess that is their main focus. It's just trash.
Mr. Gilly turns off the key. He takes off his gloves. Then he goes home. Now there's only one more thing to clean up.
Time for a bath, Mr. Gilly.
What a luxuriously long bathtub. Hey, Trashy Town. That was cute. Give it up for Scotty Huff. They got trash in Trashy Town. They got bathtubs. What more do you need? Ooh, those drums. Some good bongoing. All right, next up we have Rosie's Walk by Pat Hutchins. On the back of the box it says copyright 1968.
And now, Rosie's Walk.
A clumsy fox can't quite catch an unsuspecting hen on this fun-filled walk through the farm. Ooh. I'm excited for late 60s animation after those like more digital things that we just got. Ooh, man. I love this style. It feels medieval.
Rosie the hen went for a walk. Across the yard.
I really think perspective is overrated in art. Call me a pre-Raphaelite.
Around the pond.
I love all the little details, like how her footsteps are synced up to the rhythm of the song.
Over the haystack. Past the mill. Through the fence.
I love this fox so much. Like, I love the character design and the way he's drawn.
Under the beehive.
But I also just feel bad for him at this point. I'm really rooting for him. I want him to get that hen. Oh, no.
got back in time for dinner.
That was excellent. I love the art style. I love the animation. I love that rendition of the song. Give it up for Zdenka Skripova and Bohumil Šiška. This must have been produced in Czechoslovakia. All right, and we got The Caterpillar and the Pollywog by Jack Kent. The Pollywog watches the caterpillar grow up and turn into something else. But the caterpillar isn't the only one who's changing.
Caterpillars aren't like other folks. As ducks and hippos and you and I get older, we get bigger. Especially hippopotamuses. But not caterpillars. They turn into butterflies. Turning into something else is not a thing just anybody can do. Down by the pond, there lived a caterpillar who was very proud of being different. She bragged about it to all her friends.
When I grow up, I'm going to turn into something else.
That's nice. Who cares anyway?
I love her babushka scarf.
When I grow up, I'm going to turn into something else.
I don't blame you. Who wants to be some wiggly thing?
When I grow up,
She told the pollywog.
I'm going to turn into something else.
Oh, what fun! What are you going to turn into? But the caterpillar hurried on her way, looking for someone else to tell her secret to. I wish I could turn into something else when I grow up.
You will.
What?
All pollywogs do.
I will? What am I going to turn into? Huh? I wonder what I'm going to turn into.
Such a wise and helpful fish.
Oh, what fun! The caterpillar had circled the pond completely and was now going around for a second time, still bragging.
When I grow up, I'm going to turn into something else.
So am I.
You?
The fish said so. Oh, fish know things. They go to school.
I thought only
Murky.
caterpillars could do it.
What are we going to turn into?
Well, I'm going to turn into a butterfly.
Then I guess I will too. What fun! Let's do it together.
All right. I'd rather do it alone. I get to go first.
I don't mind. I'll watch you. I'm not sure how it's done.
First, you spin the cocoon. This is the tricky part. There. Now I have to close the lid, and when I come out, I'll be a butterfly.
Go ahead. I want to see you do it.
It will take a while.
Oh, I love the eyeballs.
She's not a caterpillar anymore. She's a butterfly. A beautiful yellow butterfly. Oh, what fun. I was so busy watching you, I didn't notice what was happening to me.
You're a very handsome frog.
A frog? I thought I was going to be a butterfly. I'm a frog! Oh, what fun!
When I grow up, I'm going to turn into something else.
But the frog wasn't listening. I am, you know, a very handsome frog.
Is this just about how everyone in the world is very self-absorbed? Is that the lesson? I mean, it's kind of true. It's a helpful thing to remember if you're worried about what other people are thinking of you. They care a lot more about themselves. I was very pleased with the music and the animation on all four of these shorts. Chicka Chicka Boom Boom had the best song. Rosie's Walk had the best animation in my book. This was lovely. I may as well grab a logo. Logo time. W. Oh, that was also a clean logo. All right, I got too many logos now. I wrote at one point a script that I can use to assemble them into a video, but it's still a lot of work to trim the heads and tails off of each one of them. Trailer music by Crystal Taliaferro, who is the singer of Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. Amazing. Amazing. I'm glad we got to experience that. I can see why everyone was excited about it who had seen it, who was familiar with Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. Next up, it's time to go back in time to 1994 and learn about we're learning about environmental science from 1994. There were there was some serious, by the 90s, there was some serious inquiry into environmental issues. And luckily, we really took a proactive approach as a global society and fixed all the issues. So this should be not at all depressing or weird to watch. Environmental science case studies from ABC News and Prentice Hall. These are reports from 1994 Environmental. We have 2 of these, Cassette 1 and Cassette 2 from Volume 2 of Environmental Science Case Studies. We'll just be watching this one today. It is 4 segments from Nightline and 2020 from 1994. The World's Population Explosion, Assignment Rwanda, Nature's Warning, Environmental Poisons and Sterility, and Tobacco on Trial. I wonder if we'll meet Dusty the Dragon in Tobacco on Trial. All right. This was sent in by West Coast Deb. And it seems like a great... It's a tight fit. Seems like a great historical artifact. Ooh. It's such a nice matte finish on this. This tape is so clean. ABC News Prentice Hall Video Library, Environmental Case Studies Volume 2, Cassette 1. Library from the... So these are clips from 94 that were compiled to the VHS Prentice Hall Video Library in 1996. Let's check it out. This is tape number 777. Lucky tape. And I will probably be off camera for most of this because I'm going to work on cover letters, etc. But I'll be around. Oh, wow. Oh. All right. I really hate it when cool logos don't have any sound on them. ABC Multimedia, Capital Cities ABC. There we go. Oh, damn it. All right. I got to get this one too. It's too good. The graphic design. the mid-90s graphic design of this one is unmatched. Whew, so many wipes. I will at one point, yeah. They're taking up a surprising amount of space, actually.
September 6th, 1994.
They agree that the world's population is exploding. After that, the Vatican and the White House part company.
We are espousing the right of a woman to choose whether or not to have an abortion.
It's in no one's interest to try to combat population growth by destroying unborn children.
That's not what abortion's about. Okay, all right.
Planning. We need the availability of contraception.
Contraception isn't first of all, it isn't the most compelling concern of ours.
Tonight, church, state, and population control.
Oh my God, the ABC News Nightline.
This is ABC News Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
Yeah, man.
About this.
Oh,
the
Ted
UN
Koppel.
Population Conference in Cairo does not have quite the same magnetic
Ted
attraction
Koppel, you
of an American
dreamboat.
audience as, say, the O.J. Simpson trial. But let's also be realistic. Where the Simpson trial will, in the long run, have little or no impact on most of our lives, the desperate struggle for food, fuel, and other global resources is what causes war, revolution, and mass migration. That may seem like a very distant problem indeed when you're talking about a place like Rwanda, but in states like Florida, Texas, and California, people can relate more immediately to the connection between their own lives and the flood of immigrants that is caused by scarce resources and overpopulation. There are at least two fundamental ways of looking at the problem. The one which is most popular in this country and in places like Western Europe is to simply call for drastic population control in the less developed world. From their perspective, though, there's an even easier solution. Get the developed world, that is us, to stop using up more than its fair share of global resources and start allocating a larger share of the pie to them. Until that happens, as Jim Bitterman now reports from Cairo, there'll be a tendency to look upon large families as the only resource that's easily produced and readily available.
It's really humbling to see how little things have actually changed. Yeah, like we're still figuring
back and forth across this old city.
We're still trying to figure this shit out. And there are so many entrenched interests that fight against any sort of
and out into the countryside,
any sort of progressive change.
Overpopulating hordes are supposed to be found. Anxiety is not running high. Try and tell Sheikh Mohammed Ali Nem about too many kids. He thinks the children in his village of Abu Musalam are gifts from God. And here, gifts are not refused. With the help of village elders gathered at the local mosque, the sheikh patiently explains to a Westerner that having a child isn't another mouth to feed, but two more hands to help out. Not a burden, but an asset. And the sheikh is happy to take you over to see the family with the most assets in town. Mrs. Qadra Hassan has produced 10 of them for her husband, and the 11th little asset is on the way.
I like many kids. They are my company and backup in life. I never feel bored with them.
Without so many kids, her husband would have to work his fields alone. So Mohammed and his neighbor Taher, who has 9 kids, are both proud of their large families.
With only 2 kids, I would be weak. But when we are many, then there is a strength to all of us.
Another farmer not so far away has 6 brothers, and he points out that a family that size means he has to work on the land only 1 day each week. And everyone out here agrees that a big family, not some government pension plan, is about the only reliable future for an Egyptian approaching retirement age.
We have nothing to do with the West. Everyone has his own principles. We eat and sleep. If there is meat, we eat meat and sleep. If there is onions, we eat onions and sleep.
With people leading such uncomplicated lives, it's no wonder the village's family planning clinic, like others in the countryside, is not a very active place. No, the big family planning operations are in the big cities, like Cairo, perhaps because it's much more difficult here for large families to make ends meet. Saad and Iman Bedoy decided to call it quits at 8 children, a family decision that 8 are enough to provide for. It certainly had nothing to do with the kind of counseling a local doctor provides.
Husband and wife come to you and they say, "Doctor, we're going to have another child. We don't have the money to support another child." What do you say?
I said to them, the money which are enough for 2 can be enough for 3. And the money which is enough for 3 can be enough for 4.
Dr. El Arian works in this Islamic clinic where patients can get birth control devices if they ask. But those who share his fundamentalist beliefs don't ask because they take literally the Quran's command to go forth and multiply.
Family planning is a sin and not allowed. The only consideration is health. If a woman's health is good, she should have children.
What if the wife says to you, "Doctor, I don't want to have any more children," and the husband says, "Doctor, I need more children for my old age"?
In Islam, it is solved. Because in Islam, according to Sharia law, the man has the right to marry another one.
There are many things here in Cairo's back alleys which might seem a bit strange to Western eyes. It's quite common for the parents of large families, for instance, to send their children into the streets each morning with orders not to come home until they've earned a little money. Not much, a couple of Egyptian pounds, 50 or 75 cents. No one ever asks where it comes from. But the order is clear. Don't come home until you've earned something to help support the family. People in developed countries might be scandalized by that kind of approach toward children, but few here seem bothered by it or impressed by outsiders' opinions of it.
Those people who are sitting in the conference, they don't know anything about the poor class.
Dr. Salim Nagem is vice president of Egypt's Medical Association, and he believes the Western approach at this week's population conference is all wrong. First attack poverty, he says, and population will take care of itself.
Raise the standard, the economy, and they will have drop the number of the family.
Dr. Nagem, like others in developing countries, believes that urging the poor to reduce the size of their families may take away an only source of happiness. One recent evening, a farmer was explaining to an outsider about a flower that clogs the River Nile. They plant and replant themselves, he said. You can't pull them out. The Nile is as fertile as its people. Outsiders look at developing countries such as Egypt and think fertility is something that can and should be brought under control, especially when the global population picture seems so catastrophic. Here, though, some wonder why anyone wants to limit the pleasure they take in their children. There is no question the values are different. The only question is who is right. For Nightline, this is Jim Bitterman in Cairo.
When we come back, the interview we did earlier today with Vice President Al Gore and Bishop James McHugh of Camden, New Jersey. Joining us now from our Cairo Bureau, the Most Reverend James McHugh. He is the Bishop of Camden, New Jersey, and also a member of the Vatican's delegation to the Population Conference in Cairo. Vice President Gore joins us from his hotel, also in Cairo. Mr. Vice President, I think that a great many people, as soon as they hear population conference, the eyes begin to glaze over a little. Could you, in the most dramatic terms possible, explain why this is of such importance to an American audience?
Well, it's probably the single most significant symptom of a new, dramatic new change in the history of humankind. To put it in perspective, Ted, from the beginning of our species' existence on Earth, 10,000 generations ago, until the end of World War II in our lifetimes, around the time I was born, it took 10,000 generations to produce a population of 2 billion people on Earth. And in my 46 years, I've seen it go from 2 billion to 5.5 billion. And if I'm fortunate enough to live another 46 years, I'll see it go almost certainly to 9 billion or 10 billion. So we can't acquiesce in a continuation of a situation that adds another 1 billion people every 10 years, another China's worth of people every decade. We know how to stabilize population. We know that when it happens, it leads to better economic circumstances for all the people involved. And so it's time for the world to get together and get serious about this, and that's what the world is doing here in Cairo.
Bishop McHugh, would it be fair to say that at least on the issue of bringing the development of the world's resources and the world's population into some kind of proper balance, there is no disagreement?
Well, I wouldn't say there's no disagreement. I think, in fact, you can get another reading from the facts that the Vice President just narrated for us. Granted that population is increasing, the numbers of people are increasing on the Earth, the rates of population growth are in decline, and we're told that the population will probably stabilize someplace around 2050. Granting the fact that the numbers are going up, and they could certainly be a little higher if another range of estimates proves true, but the fact of the matter is that we're talking about people. We're talking about people in human communities. And as they live in those human communities, they have capacities to improve their own lives. They have the capacity to make their family life richer. We have to be very careful that we're not, in a sense, imposing upon them a Western style of living and a Western style of values, a Western set of values. Granted that there are millions of poor people in the world, but they're struggling to come out of their poverty. We in the affluent countries of the world have an obligation to help them to get out of their poverty. We in the developed nations in the world have to share with them our scientific prowess, our knowledge, our expertise, our technological expertise.
Mr. Vice President, take a crack at the same question that I posed to Bishop McHugh a moment ago. You hear people in the underdeveloped world saying, You folks in the developed world are eating our share and then some. You're consuming 5 times, 10 times, in some instances 20 times the natural resources that are available to us. If you would only be more equitable in your consumption, we wouldn't have that much trouble in terms of making it in our part of the world. And how would you respond?
Well, they used to say that. They don't say it in quite the same way now. But the underlying point is one that's valid. Profligate, unsustainable, wasteful overconsumption in the industrial world is indeed a significant part of the problem. I also agree with the bishop that the industrial developed countries ought to do more in sharing new technologies that make it possible to promote sustainable development, and that the future of the developed countries, the wealthy countries, is linked to the prospects of developing countries, the poorer countries. I agree with all that, and certainly poverty and lack of development is a major contributor to the problems of refugees, war, all of these problems. But I think that it is a serious mistake in analysis not to also recognize that rapid population growth is a principal factor in causing some of these same problems.
All right, on that note, Mr. Vice President, if I could just jump in for a second. We have to take a short break. When we come back, I would like to get to a couple of the issues that have divided you and the Vatican in recent weeks. We'll talk to you and Bishop McHugh about those issues when we come back in just a moment. And we're back once again with the Vice President of the United States, Al Gore, and Bishop James McHugh. Bishop, there's been a little bit of fluctuation over the last couple of days. You and some of your colleagues at the Vatican have been extremely tough on Vice President Gore in particular on the issue of abortion. It looked for a while as though you seemed to be backing away somewhat from that confrontation, and then the Vatican spokesman, the Pope's spokesman today, heated things up once more. Can you tell us where things now stand?
Well, I think that there's certainly a tension between the Holy See and the United States of America, particularly on the abortion issue. That's a very critical issue. It's a very serious issue, and it's a very important issue, especially to the lives of millions of people, and especially to those who are yet unborn. We're interested in the things that the Vice President said. We don't totally agree with the way those things are implemented, even by his own staff and his own team. But we're here to keep the dialogue going and to see if we can't find more areas of common ground.
Mr. Vice President, if I may, and if you want to respond on the issue of abortion, go right ahead, but I would like to focus attention on a few of the issues you raised just a moment ago in a previous answer, to which, interestingly enough, the Bishop has not responded. And that is, you were speaking about increasing women's rights around the world. You were talking about the increased use of contraception around the world. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I would have expected the Bishop to jump all over you for saying that. He said nothing. Interesting?
Well, he didn't say nothing. He attacked on the issue of abortion. And I think that, with all due respect, that is a microcosm of one of the dynamics at work here. This conference is not about abortion. The United States is explicitly not seeking to establish any international right to abortion. Now, there's virtually no disagreement on that point here at this conference, but we just heard another attack on it, even though nobody is saying that. You did not hear anything on contraception, but I don't want to back the bishop into a corner. I want to be very respectful on that, because I think actually, Ted, even though the Vatican is opposed to most forms of contraception and is uncomfortable with the talk about contraception here at this conference, I think as a practical matter, we have seen a subtle but important shift around the world with a tacit acknowledgement that while they will continue to be opposed on a matter of principle, they're not fighting against those who want to distribute contraception. And I think that gives us an opportunity to move forward.
The conference that we're at is a conference on population and development. And the assumption on the part of those who put the program together is that by providing greater opportunities for women, they will empower women, give women a greater role in the development process. Central to that is providing reproductive health care services for women, for men and for children as well. We're interested in that. The Catholic Church throughout the entire world has over 96,000 health care institutions that provide all types of health care. Much of it reproductive health care for poor people and for women and children. And much of it
but
in
when
countries...
you speak about, if I may just interrupt for a moment, Bishop, when you speak about reproductive health care, you are not talking about contraception being
No, we're not
recommended
talking about contraception. We're talking about dietary care. We're talking about good nutrition. We're talking about clean water. We're talking about an awareness of one's sexuality. We're talking about appreciation of marriage. We're talking about self-restraint in regard to sexual behavior. We're talking about breastfeeding. All of these things are part of reproductive health care, but our contention is that abortion is not, and I hope the Vice President doesn't get nervous. I'm not attacking anybody, and every time that topic comes up. I think the point is
I'm not nervous,
that
and I have a great deal of respect for your positions. I don't know of any institution around the world that has done more to promote the improvement of health care, to promote higher levels of education and literacy, including among women. And these factors are recognized at this conference as among those that are crucial to stabilizing population. And what we need is a new consensus in the world that encourages that kind of work, where the Catholic Church has been among the leading institutions in the entire world. We also need family planning. We need the availability of contraception. We need the empowerment of women. I don't think it's completely irrelevant to note that the one nation last year, according to our Census Bureau, with the highest fertility rate of all 180 nations was Rwanda. Other factors caused the genocide and the civil war, but the fact that their population quadrupled in only 35 years is one of the factors that led to a disorientation and a vulnerability to the kind of chaos and disintegration that occurred there. I'm not saying, again, that population pressures caused that, but in country after country where fertility rates are as high as that, these nations are vulnerable and they're reaching out for help.
Gentlemen, just one other question, if I may. We are about out of time, but things have been left dangling a little bit in terms of the political shot that you fired across the bow the other day, Bishop, of not only the Clinton administration, but the Democratic Party here in the United States. I'm sure that, that you had considered that carefully before you said it, but you made it quite clear that unless there was some sort of clarification on the Vice President's part with regard to the abortion issue, that American Catholics, many of them, might find themselves deserting the Democratic Party. Have you had reason to rethink that comment?
No, I haven't had reason to rethink it. I'm sorry that I didn't see how it played there. That was in response to a question as to whether I thought that the administration's stance on abortion was going to cause hostility on the part of Catholics towards the president. And I said I didn't think it was leveled simply at the president. He's not the only one in political life. But that those parties, both parties, but especially the Democratic Party, because it has espoused abortion as such an upfront item on its agenda, would really be further and further distancing itself from loyal and faithful Catholics.
Mr. Vice President, you get the last word.
Well, Ted, this conference is not about U.S. domestic policy on abortion, but I take exception to the bishop's statement that we are espousing abortion. We are espousing the right of a woman to choose whether or not to have an abortion, and the principle that she should not be coerced, and the government is not the one that knows best and shouldn't go in and force a woman to do what the government says she ought to do. Regardless of what your individual view is about abortion, the overwhelming majority of Americans agree that the choice ought to be made by a woman.
Mr. Vice President, on that note, let me thank you both. Bishop McHugh, Vice President Gore, good of you both to join us after a long day in Cairo. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
I'll be back in a moment. Tomorrow on Turning Point, one family's emotional battle to send their Down syndrome child to a public school. That's tomorrow on this ABC station. And that's our report for tonight. I'm Ted Koppel in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
This was segment 1 on this tape with 4 segments. Segment 1 was the longest. If you were worried about, if you were getting a little depressed, don't worry. Our next one is, let me see here. Oh, Assignment Rwanda. But it's only 13 minutes. Profiles in Caring. Oh, that sounds really uplifting. I like that. All right.
It's all too easy to become paralyzed when face to face with the suffering of millions. But the people you're about to meet have refused to give up because they know they can make a difference one person at a time. Here's Jim Wooten's report.
Ngongukize nungwa nuko kuhira amazi
ngo bamaye umwanya se k'izuba ntitiye.
Listen.
Celui-là, il boit et il dort.
Listen closely, and you'll hear the music of Kabumba. These sad songs from this astonishing sprawl of humanity massed here in the wilderness of Zaire. At least 250,000 Rwandan refugees, strangers in a strange land, under siege by death and disease. But even in this horrific place,
Leo, maybe we better first collect all our local personnel and have our...
there rises the sound of hope.
And tell them all what their tasks for today are. Huh?
Ati Hammer, a woman of relentlessly clear purpose, has come to help. A Belgian doctor's wife and mother of 5, she's a nurse and one of more than 100 volunteers for Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders, now on the ground here in Zaire.
So we call them 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? You understand?
Ms. Hammer has seen disaster and death all over the Third World, the Sudan, Bangladesh, Liberia, but she's seen nothing like this.
I arrived last week Tuesday. First day in this camp was Wednesday. We tried to enter the first tent and it was just difficult to find a place to put your feet because there were starving people and dead bodies laying all over the place and trying to get into the tent, and the tent was packed full. So it was terrible. So the only thing you could do was just walk there and you know, tears were just coming and just try to find one person to concentrate on that you could give some water. That's the only way for me to cope with it. That's, at a certain moment, it's just one patient or one person or one child without parents that you concentrate on for a while, and you think, okay, I can do just a little bit for that person, and not thinking of all the others who are just dying.
How long can you do that?
I don't know. Miriam, just try to follow me and tell people if they want to talk to you that they just wait a moment. I'm sure many people need counseling after a project like this, even already now in the team. I think I discussed it already this morning with the people of Human Resources, that special people, the young people who are in their first project, so we have to keep an eye on them and yeah, not only look at all the work that needs to be done, but also yeah, look after all the people who are working with it. It's a huge team, and you know, and it's not surprising when somebody gets problems and they can't sleep anymore and things like that.
All day, every day, Addie and her team work on the far side of Kabumba, one person at a time, one task at a time, until at dusk they go back to their headquarters in Goma. And even there, the day is not yet over.
We have a meeting with the people from this camp, then we have a meeting with team leaders from the other camps, and yeah, we try to improve things, discuss the problems, try to make a plan for next day, and that's it. And by that time it's about 9, and then I'm still very filthy and dirt, and I only had some beer, so then I want to eat something. I just think I have to eat and I mustn't fall ill, so I just eat everything. I finish my plate, although I'm not hungry, and I try to stay healthy and to sleep well.
Do you dream?
No, I just sleep. I just sleep.
Bonjour. Bonjour. Comment ça va? Ça va bien. Et vous aussi?
In these miserable multitudes of refugees, there are many who ask why the world doesn't help them. The world is helping, of course, helping a lot with tons of food and water and medicine and doctors and nurses, people like Ati Hammer. But in the context of this overwhelming catastrophe, the question is understandable. For here in Kibumba and all over this corner of Zaire, the quintessential, irreducible problem is numbers.
Think of too many people at once. I mean, 1 million people in 3 days, nobody can take care of them. I mean,
Dr. Koenraad Hinkerts of Belgium, who led the first medical team in 2 weeks ago, takes a realistic view of his task.
It's physically impossible to bring in help for 1 million people who arrived in 3 days' time. I think nobody can help at this moment. We do our best. You can bring in and you can help the people as much as you can. But I think the disaster was you could not do anything.
Dr. Hinkerts runs the Médecins Sans Frontières operation at Kibumba, Doctors Without Borders, with a patient load of more than 2,000 a day. Cholera, dysentery, dehydration, malaria, even measles. From the Netherlands, Dr. Lucy Block has stepped into the midst of this madness.
You get up in the morning and you think it's such a nice country. Then you get into your vehicle and you drive on the road and you see all these people and you get into, you see what's happening, you see the dead bodies and you have to start working again. And that's how it goes.
how long have you been here?
I've been here now 5 days. In my feeling it's 3 weeks or maybe even longer. We're trying, we are working very hard, trying to save lives. At the same time, people are dying.
You're not saving as many as you're losing, are you?
No, we are saving more than we're losing. That's fortunate, and I think that's what keeping us going. It keeps us going. It's we're losing a lot, but at the same time, we're saving many, many lives as well.
You keep drinking. It's very important. Can you drink some for me?
And more help is arriving every day. From Idaho, Nurse Marianne Holtz.
Ah, good. Bon. I come from a background of working with people who are dying, so it's perhaps not as difficult for me as it is for others.
And from the Upper West Side of New York City, Nurse Mary Moran.
How do you handle this kind of thing emotionally?
I talk about it a lot. I say the odd prayer, but I do more swearing than anything else, under my breath though, and I don't swear in French. Yesterday, for example, when it was raining, I tried to give some small children to people who had shelter. They just took the children like this and threw them. Small children. That would never happen in ordinary situations, and I'm sure this would never happen in Rwanda by those very same people. People are desperate, so desperate. They just can look after themselves.
Jock Baker of the United Nations, based in Nepal on emergency assignment at the Kibumba camp.
Tell me about this camp.
It's generally considered to be probably the worst situated, mainly because of lack of water. Most people get water from 25 kilometers up the road, which is about a 15-hour walk. They normally do it overnight. Alternatively, you can buy it, but the price that you pay for one of these yellow jerry cans you see, which is 20 liters, is equivalent to 6 kilos of fresh beef.
Can you say that you're making any progress?
I think so. In the last few days, we've had more and more water delivered to the camp. That's probably the main indicator for this camp. It's the main big problem. Of course, sanitation, the longer the people are here, the sanitation becomes a big problem also. But at least resources are being mobilized and things are appearing.
it's a little bit more encouraging than in the beginning. On the other hand, I would be hesitant to commit myself to say that this is a sustainable situation.
His United Nations colleague, Deborah Verzou, was kicked out of Haiti 2 weeks ago. What do you want to get done today?
Well, what we want to get done today is we are waiting for a bulldozer, which also is a bit of a problem because there are not very many and one was broken down. But we are waiting for a bulldozer and then we have to level the ground over there to put water tanks. And after that we need the bulldozer over there because yesterday we lined up a lot of bodies and the idea is to dig a big hole so that we can bury the dead bodies. I mean, it's very tragic, but I think if you're working, if you're feeling that you're contributing at least something, even though it's very little maybe, that gives you, I think, a better feeling.
How do you withstand the emotional strains and tension that this kind of work must produce?
Firstly, not everybody is standing it. Some people go home after a few days. The other people, I mean, you keep on working. You try to block yourself to see all the bodies on the road. And when you come home at night, you have to try to relax a little bit and don't try to think about the day you've seen. Just organize the day for tomorrow. And I think every some days we have to take one day off to just get back from this. But I always try to explain, listen, if you don't eat well, if you don't drink well, you cannot work tomorrow and save the people. If you have to live like them, you cannot work. So we try to save as much people as we can, and the only way you can do it is at night. You can relax and you can have a beer and you can have a good meal and sleep well. If you don't sleep well, the next morning you cannot come and work again. I think it's very important that we can have a relaxation at night. Otherwise, you're finished in 1 week time.
Looking forward to a shower in the evening keeps one going through the day. Then I like to get up real early in the morning so I can sit down and write my diary of all my thoughts and all the things that I've done on the previous day and the wonders I have for the coming day and how I'm going to cope with it. So early morning, 5:30 until 7 in the morning is my real special time. The birds are singing, it's quiet.
Why do you do this, Mary?
I need to be able to deal with the horrors that I have to deal with during the day. I need to be able to think about it. I need to know that there is a God. I need to know that there are horrible things going on to innocent people who have no control over their situation. And I need to be able to find some way to work within that horrible system that even I can do not a damn thing about.
Why do you do this?
Because these are the people who need help. It is not their fault that they are here. They are desperate, and I want to do a little bit. After all, I am a member of the same human race as they are, and they are but for the will of God. This could happen to any of us.
In a sense, it is happening to them, to her, and to all the others who've come from all over the world here to the end of the world to help. Jim Wooten for Nightline at the Kabumba camp in Zaire.
Boy, this is a real heavy tape, huh? It's going to get, I think, a little lighter with Tobacco on Trial.
All right, here's a question you don't get every day. What does an alligator's sex life have to do with the fate of humankind?
Yes, thank you.
You shouldn't laugh at that question.
Alligator fucking. That's so much lighter. Don't.
Lynn Sure is going to tell us about
Barbara.
a disturbing phenomenon that may spell disaster for wildlife species around the world.
We had like 2 seconds of levity with alligator sex, and then Barbara Walters had to tell us, no, it's very serious.
Capable of reproducing. And many scientists believe that what they are seeing may be nature's warning to us all.
The kind of whiplash that I'm getting right now.
To understand one of the most important scientific mysteries facing our world. University of Florida researchers are out in force on Lake Apopka, just outside of Orlando. They are tracking the effects of
I care quite a bit about conservation and environmentalism.
Story about the environment.
But at this moment, after seeing all this suffering in Rwanda, I'm like, fuck it, it's alligators. Who gives a shit?
The victims here are alligators.
And I think that gives me kind of a glimpse of empathy into people who are just like,
looking for eggs in the clumps of sawgrass.
there are a lot of reasons to not give a shit.
Determine the size of the alligator population.
About things that you probably should give a shit about.
It began to decline.
But I think one of them is just like
14 years ago, after
the stress and the burden and the weight of like how hopeless things can feel sometimes can make
Despite
people
an extensive cleanup, things have not yet
give a
returned
shit.
to normal. Biologist Louis Gillette heads the team.
It looks
So you got to find your way in.
It's a normal
You
lake.
got to find a sneaky,
It's only
snaky
if
way
you've
in
been
to
here many years
empathize.
ago that you realize how reduced the population is. But we know the population is 90%
Ostensibly,
less
like
than it was 10
agreeing
years, 15 years
with
ago. That's huge.
the
That's huge.
destruction
That's a
of the wilderness.
But it's not just that the animals
They
are
might
dying.
have a.
In one of the most terrifying possibilities for
They
this
might
planet,
have some
those
internal
animals
pain
that do
that's
survive are
the
not
root of
able
that.
to reproduce themselves. And it's all because one generation is passing on the toxins to the next. You can see the evidence under the microscope. These are normal cells in male alligators. But Lake Apopka alligators have these
I think it's
bar-shaped
really
cells,
important to.
which means they will never create sperm.
I think it's really important to find ways for yourself of
Turtles from the lake.
The animals that were hatching out of these eggs
having a sense of like
had developmental abnormalities.
having values and having a sense of a stable sense of who you are and what matters to you.
So you're saying at this point, mom has the contaminants in her body.
It's important to do that, and it's important to try and respect the ways that other people
therefore
find
the
to do
eggs are not
that.
developing properly.
Correct.
For some people, it's religion. For some people, it's
The discoveries
not.
here in Florida are
something
not
else.
isolated. Similar bizarre changes have been found in animals throughout the world.
But the critical thing
Panthers,
is like,
eagles, even bats.
are you hurting anyone?
What's
by
causing
doing
this?
it?
Scientists aren't entirely
If you're not.
certain, but they believe it may be a previously unknown effect of chemical substances we thought we'd cleaned up. Off Cape Cod, Massachusetts, terns whose seashore habitat was
Anyway,
fouled
God,
by
yeah,
industrial chemicals
Rwanda has numbed
have
me.
developed
That
reproductive
Rwanda
problems,
segment.
particularly among males. With the male population significantly reduced, females are turning
I'm just
to
talking
other
over this
females
because I
to
don't.
tend the
I
nests.
don't want to listen to it.
In the Great Lakes, trout exposed to pollutants are exhibiting both male and female sexual organs in a single fish. In a
And now they're
laboratory in North
turning the
Carolina,
fish
mice
trans.
treated with chemicals produced less sperm, and some developed cancer in the testes. Government scientist John McLaughlin.
There were some
the
pretty
chemicals
profound
in the
effects
water.
on the development of the male reproductive system. We
All
also
fish are
saw
gay.
abnormalities in sperm and lower sperm counts.
In Canada's
ever
St.
met a
Lawrence
straight fish?
Seaway, the population of beluga whales is declining in industrial centers, apparently because of reproductive irregularities. And in Malaysia, male bats may be crossing sexual lines by producing milk for nursing babies. What's causing these mutations? Scientists say the most likely answer so far is that a wide variety of chemicals are breaking down into the hormone estrogen. It can come from pesticides and insecticides that trickle into drinking water and infect our food. It can come from heavy industry, even everyday plastics, which over time
Yeah,
can turn
probably
into
is a
estrogen-like
bad
compounds.
idea to flood
Huge
the
doses of these
ecosystem with
environmental estrogens
hormones.
seem to be creating havoc.
Many of the eggs don't hatch that mom lays, and that what few do hatch, at least in Lake Apopka,
Some of this stuff has gotten
expose these
better.
various contaminants, probably pesticides. They're not normal reproductively.
Dr. Timothy Gross showed me some of the mutations in the baby alligators. Although it's difficult to see, all of the males collected from Lake Apopka have abnormally small sex organs, a condition with devastating consequences.
These animals, when they reach sexual maturity or puberty, they won't function. They won't be able to reproduce.
Even more startling, the environmental estrogen is literally turning many males into females inside the egg.
They're changing sex. They should become males. But under the effects of pesticides or estrogens, in this case pesticides, act like estrogens, we completely reverse that, and when they hatch, they're females.
It sounds like science fiction.
Well, it basically is to some degree. I wish it was true science fiction. Unfortunately, it occurs in Lake Apopka and probably in many other lakes around the country.
And my God, if it can do it to an alligator, it can do it to me.
Al Meyerhoff is an attorney for the environmental group, the Natural Resources Defense Council.
And I think a startling statistic in the boomer generation, boomer men, if you will, that since World War II, non-tobacco-related cancer in men has tripled compared to our grandfathers. And during roughly that same time period, the sperm count of men in industrialized countries has dropped nearly 50%. That is cause for concern. That is a wake-up call.
Those statistics are indeed startling. Human sperm count has gone down by half in just over 40 years. Scientists are also concerned that they're seeing a simultaneous and dramatic increase in certain cancers of the male reproductive organs. Testicular cancer has risen 200%, prostate cancer 300%. Could there be a link between these abnormalities, between the reproductive disruptions we're seeing in animals and environmental estrogens? There is already one significant clue for humans. In 1954, when Grace Freilich was pregnant with her son Mike, she took a synthetic estrogen called DES to prevent miscarriage. 30 years later, she would learn of the devastating effects the drug would have on her son.
About 10 years ago, I noticed a lump on my left testicle, and I went to my family doctor and eventually was diagnosed as testicular cancer. I never heard of testicular cancer. I didn't know you could get cancer there, but I eventually was treated. I had my left testicle removed surgically, and they found a malignant cancerous growth on it.
The millions of women who took DES during pregnancy represent one of the few case studies among humans of how estrogen can damage offspring. Cancer among female DES babies has been well documented. Now, new studies show that male children, like Mike, are twice as likely to develop reproductive problems as the general population.
His incision went from one end, from the throat almost down to the groin. Here I took this drug to help save the pregnancy, and now it's causing my son all these health problems, and now he has cancer, and it was from my taking the drug, and that really did a number on me.
Today, Mike has been pronounced cancer-free, but the effects remain.
I'm sterile, I'm infertile because of the chemotherapy and the cancer that I had, which I feel is related to the DES that my mother took. But suppose I was able to have kids, who's to say that those kids wouldn't be affected?
Zoologist Theo Colburn of the World Wildlife Fund was so concerned that humans and wildlife could be pumping huge doses of estrogen, like DES, into their offspring. She convened several meetings of scientists from throughout the world.
Each one had to come and talk about what they knew about sexual development and the possibility that something could interfere with sexual development. Every one of them agreed within 5 to 10 minutes after they met that the scope of the problem was large. The magnitude of the problem was great.
Sandra Tyree represents the Chemical Manufacturers Association, whose members produce 90% of all chemicals in the United States.
Do you accept the theory that if this is happening in animals, there is a possible potential link to us, to human beings?
When you see effects in animals, you're always concerned about possible effects in humans. Of course we share that concern. That's why we want to be part of the research that gets done to try to get at answers.
Dr. Lynn Goldman of the Environmental Protection Agency is leading the government's effort to deal with this issue.
How concerned should we be about this problem? How would you characterize it? Should we be panicked? Should we be frightened? Should we be nonchalant? What do you think?
Somewhere in between. We should not be panicked or frightened, nor should we be nonchalant, because the potential for effects is very real, but at the same time, we're not seeing large exposures, large public health problems at this time.
Do you believe the evidence is in that shows that lower sperm counts are due to pesticides?
I don't think that the evidence is in to prove that link at this point in time. I do feel that this is an area that needs some very careful attention.
EPA has suggested one change: new tests for chemicals now on the market and those in the future to determine any long-term health risks.
I think the American people make a choice. We choose between the perfect peach wrapped in cellophane in a plastic grocery bag and cancer and reproductive harm and injury to future generations. And it is incumbent upon us to take steps now to ensure that those injuries do not occur, not only to ourselves and our children, but to the future of this country.
Solving this mystery remains the top concern for scientists like Gillette, the Florida biologist, who's trying to come up with answers as quickly as he can.
There is a significant public health potential problem out there. We shouldn't sit around for the next 5 years waiting to see if it happens. If the wildlife are having problems, then we better wake up and think about the fact that we might have problems as well.
Well, then we might have problems, but most of us aren't asked to choose between the perfect peach and cancer. So, what happens next?
Well, this is one in which the chemical industry, the federal government, and the scientists are all in agreement. They're all saying, do the research. Let's find out if there's a link between these estrogen-like compounds in the environment and these reproductive problems. And if so, how serious is it? The real issue is more research, more testing.
How does a human being know if he's in danger?
Right now, there's almost no way to find out. Men should now be clued in the way women have been to find out if their mothers were on DES. That's a beginning clue, but we've got to do the test. Solving the mystery, learning it might be these compounds was the first step. The second step is let's find out how serious and how real it really is.
Thank you, Lynn.
Okay. All right, our final segment is Tobacco on Trial. Obviously, still probably heavy subject matter, but like...
On one score,
we won this one, right?
Waxman harbors no illusion.
Let's just forget about vaping. We won this one.
The leading man, gunslinger type of fellow.
We fixed it.
This is the showdown. Can I be John Wayne and you be Clint Eastwood?
I don't think I make a very good Clint Eastwood.
Smoke is a joke. We all know that.
Still, Waxman and his congressional subcommittee were preparing to take on some pretty heavy hitters this morning. No less than the chief executives of the nation's top 7 tobacco companies. This man, James Johnston, heads up R.J. Reynolds. And yes, he smokes. But for 6 hours today, there would be no smoking, not in the hearing room at least. To put it bluntly, there was a fair amount of silliness to go around on both sides today.
Thank fucking God. Silliness.
For all the showboating on the congressional side and the disingenuousness on the industry side, this is serious business. If the Food and Drug Administration determines that tobacco companies manipulate nicotine in cigarettes, they could label it a drug, and the government could regulate cigarettes. That's clearly the direction in which Henry Waxman and the majority of his subcommittee are headed.
This is an historic hearing. For the first time ever, the chief executive officers of our nation's tobacco companies are testifying together before the United States Congress. This hearing marks the beginning of a new relationship between Congress and the tobacco companies. The old rules are out. The standards that apply to every other company is in.
Thomas Bliley, Republican of Virginia, as in Virginia Tobacco.
Over the past several weeks, we have witnessed an unprecedented assault on tobacco that has unfortunately been driven not by science, but by press release. I am proud to represent the thousands of honest, hard-working men and women who earn their livelihood producing this legal product. I am proud of all their positive contributions to my community, and I'll be damned if they are to be sacrificed on the altar of political correctness.
There were, in other words, a couple of allies on the panel, but not many. The tobacco executives were not on friendly ground, and so they doggedly stressed and re-stressed their position on nicotine.
The claim that Philip Morris secretly adds nicotine during the manufacturing process to keep smokers addicted is false.
Let me repeat. We do not manipulate nicotine to addict smokers.
Lorillard makes no effort to keep secret any information about the nicotine content of our products.
At which point the gloves came off. Henry Waxman ridiculed the comparison made by tobacco executives between their product and coffee, tea, sugar, chocolate, warm milk, and Twinkies.
You and I both know that Twinkies don't kill a single American a year. They may not add to a healthy diet, but they don't kill. The difference between cigarettes and Twinkies and the other products you mentioned is death. And I'm sure you're aware that the Surgeon General and the American Medical Association estimate that cigarettes kill over 400,000 smokers every year. Putting aside your
I mean, a Twinkie a day won't give you lung
assertion that
cancer.
people accept this risk willingly, do you agree with this estimate?
Do I agree with the estimate of 435,000 people?
Twinkie a day might make you fat, but it's not going to.
This morning, 3 or 4 different.
It's not going to progressively destroy your organs.
My understanding of how that number is
If you don't agree with the number, then give us your number. How many smokers die each year from smoking cigarettes?
I will explain.
No, I want your answer. We have a limited time.
I do not know how many.
Do you disagree with the Surgeon General's opinion?
It is a computer-generated number that makes
Mr. Johnson, I'm going to have to ask you to respond to my questions. Do you or do you not agree with the Surgeon General's estimate of over 400,000 smokers dying each year?
I do not agree.
Okay. Do you know how many die each year?
I do not know.
How can you, as the chief executive officer of a company manufacturing a product that's been accused of killing so many people, not know this information? How is it?
I'm telling you that number is generated by a computer, and it makes 2 important assumptions. The first, that virtually everyone who smokes and dies because they smoked, unless they got run over by a bus. And second, that model allows people to die 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I don't know how that can happen, but that's what that model does.
Mr. Tisch, I want to move to you for a moment. In a deposition last year, you were asked whether cigarette smoking causes cancer. Your answer was, quote, "I don't believe so." Do you stand by that answer today?
I do, sir.
Do you understand how isolated you are in that belief from the entire scientific community?
I do, sir.
You're the head of a manufacturer of a product that's been accused by the overwhelming scientific community to cause cancer. You don't know? Do you have an interest in finding out?
I do, sir. Yes.
And what have you done to pursue that interest?
Well, we have looked at the data, and the data that we have been able to see has all been statistical data that has not convinced me that smoking causes death.
It had degenerated into a dialogue of the deaf, each side saying what it had come to say, each side hearing only what it wanted to hear. Congressman Ron Wyden of Oregon, after citing evidence from World Health, the AMA, and the Surgeon General on the addictiveness of cigarettes.
Let me begin my questioning on the matter of whether or not nicotine is addictive.
Thank you, Jess.
First, and I'd like to just go down the row.
Do we want smoke as a joke?
That nicotine is not addictive. I heard virtually all of you touch on it. And just yes or no. Do you believe nicotine is not addictive?
I believe nicotine is not addictive, yes.
Mr. Johnston.
Congressman, cigarettes and nicotine clearly do not meet the classic definitions of addiction. There is no intoxication.
We'll take that as a no. And again, time is short. If you could just, I think each of you believe nicotine.
It's 1994.
Just would like to have this for the record.
I don't believe that nicotine or our products are addictive.
I believe nicotine is not addictive.
I believe that nicotine is not addictive.
I believe that nicotine is not addictive.
And I too believe that nicotine is not addictive.
If I may, at this juncture, I am somewhat appalled by the conduct of this hearing. You invited responsible executives here to devote their time and their honesty to the answers. You overwhelm people with questions. You ask yes and no. And I would like to think if we're going to have an exchange here, a true exchange for you to be informed, rather than have your minds made up, we should be given chances in future questioning to expand if necessary.
When everybody on the panel says the same thing and astonishingly says it in the same way as all of you did a moment ago when you affirmed that you did not believe nicotine is addictive, it raises the question about whether or not the response was rehearsed. Mr. Horgan, did your lawyer tell you that you needed to affirm today without equivocation that nicotine is addictive, is not addictive?
No one had to tell me anything about my opinions about addiction, sir.
Did this group discuss the need to state clearly in the same words as you all did, in the same words, that nicotine is not addictive?
You up there think that we get together and meet? That's absolutely outrageous.
This is some pretty flimsy political grandstanding. And we're done. All right. All right, I'm gonna play the smoke as a joke, but Jess, you can pick another one.
Whoa, wrong!
If you want.
Tobacco in any form is addictive and can cause cancer. Dusty, you could lose your tongue or your teeth. Besides, who needs black spit, bad breath, rotten gums, and brown fangs, right?
Oh, I've heard enough. Enough! I can make my own decision.
What's the best lighthearted palate cleanser you can think
I've
of?
heard it said that smokers rule, be part of the gang, light up after school. Now I know that just isn't true. Don't need a fire in my face to be cool. Not gonna spend my hard-earned cash on making stupid cigarette ash. Then there's my
Squiggles, dots,
looks,
and
my
lines is
bangs,
so
my
good.
face. My breath would smell like a fireplace. You think smoke's a social solution? You're just committing bodily pollution.
Wanna know the real situation? Your lungs may take a permanent vacation.
Your heart doesn't need all that extra work. If you smoke, I think you're a jerk.
Smoking's for the socially weak. Break out of that pack.
There have been a lot of opinions
here.
I think, Jess, you have to make a decision.
Don't need a fire in my face to be cool.
Or force one. We can force one if you don't want to make a decision.
Incredible. That's it. Yeah, no more smoking. Disgusting. Yeah, great. Incredible.
It's a great song. Anyway, that was ABC News and Prentice Hall Video Library. We have one more of these. Celtic Feet. I mean, I do like Celtic Feet. We never heard that one. Final decision it belongs to Jess. I liked it too, and I also am very, it was heavy. We will have a break before we watch the other one. We can look real quick to see what the segments are. Maybe they're more lighthearted. Maybe it's fun environmental science. Maybe it's how to make a, I don't know, diorama of the water cycle. All right, well, we haven't heard from Jess on a definitive song choice. So how about Celtic Feet? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We good?
Dance for everybody to join in
Let's
too.
do it.
Okay, Alan.
Oh. No Celtic Feet for you. What do you want instead? Okay.
Dance for everybody to join in too. Okay, Alan.
Thank you very much, Jess, for lightening the mood. Nothing bad has ever happened or will ever happen again. Nothing bad has ever happened to the environment or politics. Everything is fine. Everything is great. Rwanda is better now. Legitimate, I don't know how. All right, yes. You're right. I should shut up. Shut up and dance. Ooh, I did it. I earned an hour toward my stand goal by jiggling in my chair. No. It did not come across as mean. And it was, in fact, an appropriate comment. Oh, yeah, Wiener World. That was a Wiener World film. Okay. I looked up the second tape. It has more segments. They're shorter on volume on the second cassette. That it's sun forecast, Platte River and Sandhill cranes, rerouting Kissimmee River, is environmental science for sale, 22-minute segment. Newfoundland fishermen out of fish, the last harvest, turning landfills into nature preserves, that's fun, and Apaches agree to nuclear waste site. We'll get to that someday. For now, though, our final tape of the day. I have two sitting in front of me, one of which is fun. We have both Africans in America, America's Journey Through Slavery, The Terrible Transformation, and then we have Cruisin' Through the 60s, a rockumentary. This is a 30-minute rockumentary, Volume 1 of Cruisin' Through the 60s. An interesting, let me pull this up so you can appreciate the amazing box art. Cruisin' Through the 60s, a rockumentary. An interesting and unusual look at the 60s, combining original newsreel footage of the Vietnam era. Don't get too excited. Combining original newsreel footage and assorted clips with some of the hottest hits of that era. Cruisin' Through the 60s covers all the big moments and small wonders, from space travel and peace rallies to the horror and tragedy of Vietnam. Includes these original recordings. She'd Rather Be With Me by the Turtles, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow by the Shirelles. Yeah, this is going to be fun. From Halcyon Days Productions. This is pure nostalgia. They're just going to be like, oh, Vietnam was happening and people didn't like it. That's all. It's not going to be very sober, I don't think. What is it good for? All right, here we go. Cruisin' Through the 60s, a rockumentary, 30 minutes, and then we'll be wrapping up here.
Yeah, I remember the 60s. We reached for the stars.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We went to space and did LSD. I'm gonna make sure. Gonna make sure we get to the beginning of this because I think we missed maybe a title sequence or something. Here we go. Oh, it's a scimitar joint. I mean, you're always welcome to leave, but again, look at this. This is not going to be a depressing tape. I guarantee it. It's called Halcyon Days Productions, for God's sake.
Yeah, I remember the 60s. We reached for the stars.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, liftoff.
It was an amazing time of great changes, discovery, and introspection.
And sitars.
It's beautiful. In the 1960s, we were all pretty spaced out back then. Yeah.
Five hours before he is destined to take a giant stride into history, Colonel John H. Glenn Jr. squeezes into his spacesuit. His smiling face belies...
God damn it. Everyone always talks about John Glenn.
This morning, the weather over Cape...
Everyone forgets Alan Shepard.
...is better, and there's an air of optimism...
Because Alan Shepard didn't orbit.
Carrying his now familiar portable air conditioner.
But I am Alan Shepard. You are Alan Shepard.
Point to 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
We are all Alan Shepard.
The eyes of the world turned to Cape Canaveral. The Russian orbits were in a thick fog of secrecy. The United States stands or falls in the white-hot glare of worldwide publicity. In the capsule atop the Atlas missile, the colonel will be strapped to a contoured couch. Once in flight, the Mercury will be tilted so that the astronaut will ride backwards. The seconds tick off as his rendezvous with space approaches. Then, millions are moved to silent prayer.
God, the space race was wild.
Everything is go.
We all just accepted that shooting men into space in rockets was like a thing that we ought to do. I think it was pretty rad that we shot a bunch of men into space in rockets. I don't know why we quit. I guess we overextended ourselves a little bit. This is kind of fun, actually. I like this style. It's just a montage of historical clips edited to music. I guess this is what they mean by a rockumentary.
European bands are still blowing up a storm for the twist, and the Germans stage a contest for leading twisters that has the dance floor looking like a bowl full of pretzels. It's enough to drive a chiropractor to drink, and if that happens, he'll find that the bartender is right in the groove.
So swanky. So many shots of asses.
Your own risk, as these finalists give their all. If you're not great shakes at this business, you better stay on the sidelines.
I love the cheeky British Pathé style narration.
But they never miss a beat. What we're trying to lead up to is this. Scientists have traced the source of the twist to prehistoric days. One guess, which dinosaur did the twist? And we want a straight answer. There are rumors around that this is Britain's revenge for the Boston Tea Party. 3,000 screaming teenagers are at New York's Kennedy Airport to greet, you guessed it, the Beatles. This rock and roll group has taken over as the kingpins of musical appreciation among the younger element. Some music critics call their harmony unmistakably diatonic. Others say it's pandiatomic. Parents say it's just plain pandemonium. Their first meeting with the American press brings forth an interview laced with quips and humor. You'd laugh, too, with a gross of $17 million last year. New York City cops are hard-pressed protecting the Beatles at their hotel. On every side, there is hero worship that recalls the heydays of Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra. With one Beatle bedded with a sore throat, 3 of the quartet take an airing in Central Park. There was absolutely no truth to the rumor that the zoo's laughing hyena was driven underground.
It's a little rude to Elvis. Signed teenager.
Elvis Presley weds Priscilla Ann Beaulieu, and one of America's richest teenage singing idols promises to love on...
Oh, he wasn't actually dead yet. That's right.
Tonight you're mine completely. You give your love so sweetly. Tonight the light of love is in your eyes.
All right, enjoy the lighthearted montage fun. I need coffee.
Love me tomorrow. Is this a lasting treasure or just a moment's pleasure? Can I believe the magic of your side? Will you still love me tomorrow? Tonight with words unspoken, you said that I'm the only one. But will my heart be broken when the night meets the morning sun? I'd like to know that your love is the love I can be sure of. So tell me now, and I won't ask again. Will you still love me tomorrow?
All of you who have written to me know how much we all loved him, and that he returned that love in full measure. The knowledge of the affection in which my husband was held by all of you has sustained me.
So tell me now, and I won't ask again. Will you still love me tomorrow? Will you still love me tomorrow?
Why did the pelvis desert bachelorhood? Said he, it's about time.
Oh, it's hot in here. Let's get some air.
I'm with you.
Heavenly.
Sure is. Cigarette?
Oh, I don't know. They all taste sort of flat about now.
Oh? Then it's time you changed to cool.
Your cigarette's not tasting cool enough till you come up to cool. Cool's menthol magic brightens taste, refreshing all day through.
Feel extra coolness in your throat as cool comes through for you.
Cool enough?
Perfect.
You're not smoking cool, cool, cool enough till you come up to cool.
Come all the way up to Cool. Cool Filter Kings with the pure white filter. Only Cool guarantees you the extra coolness you'll feel in your throat. In New York, actress Bonnie Schoen with her karate instructor demonstrates what she's learned about the fine art of masher mangling. It's obvious her kicks are good in any league to make the point. This guy needs another lesson, and he's playing with dynamite. Bonnie shows that she's learned her karate well, and his stomach should be all right in a few weeks. Even a friendly pat can lead to disaster. Men who are grabby make Bonnie quite crabby, and the rest is poetry in motion. She must be a real fun girl on a date. Recording star Vincent Bell warms up an instrument which is creating excitement in today's popular music world. It's an electric sitar invented and designed by Mr. Bell. It produces the new exotic Eastern sound first introduced by the Beatles.
Stand by for a take.
This electrified sitar is easy to play. If you play guitar, you can play the sitar. Mr. Bell demonstrates recording Happy Feeling for a new Decca album.
It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. A widespread investigation of reports from funeral homes, morgues, and hospitals has concluded that the unburied dead are coming back to life and seeking human victims. It's hard for us here to believe what we're reporting to you, but it does seem to be a fact.
Do you remember one time when we were small, we were out here? It was from right over there. I jumped out at you from behind the tree, and Grandpa got all excited, and he shook his fist at me, and he said, "Boys, you'll be damned to hell." Remember that? Right over there. Well, you used to really be scared.
Johnny.
Well, you're still afraid.
Stop it now, I mean it.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Stop it. You're ignorant.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
Stop it. You're acting like a child.
They're coming for you. Look, there comes one of them now.
He'll hear you.
Here he comes now. I'm getting out of here.
Johnny.
Some girls love to run around, love to handle everything they see. But my girl has more fun around, and you know she'd rather be with me. Oh my lucky guy is what I am. Tell you why you'll understand. She don't lie, although she can. Some boys want to run around. They don't think about the things they do. But this boy wants to settle down. And you know he'd rather be with you. Me, oh my lucky guy is what I am. Tell you why you understand. She don't lie, although she
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm making an umbrella.
The what?
Umbrella. I'm making umbrella.
You're making an umbrella.
That's right.
You can't make umbrellas out of cardboard.
You don't think that I can make an umbrella out of cardboard. My brother said that he doesn't think that I can make an umbrella.
All right, Mr. Umbrella Authority. Just tell me all about umbrellas.
Okay. You see, the U.S. Treasury Department asked me, Fumpack Tommy Smothers, to dramatize the fact that 1966 is the 25th anniversary of U.S. savings bonds. And how savings bonds protect you like an umbrella when those rainy days come. You have the umbrella.
Wait a minute. I thought we did everything together. I thought we always worked together.
Well, Dickie, I can't help it. The Treasury Department. Well, they did ask you to do one thing.
Oh.
Well, I'm talking about the 25th anniversary of U.S. savings bond. You show everybody how you get $4.
$4.
For every $3.
For every $3.
That you invest in U.S. savings bonds when they mature, and how they help your country and help your future and protect your future at the same time like an umbrella like that.
Hey, when did we do this?
I think we just did, didn't we?
A lineup of nimble knees shows that the hem has risen to a point of no return, and some girls love a peekaboo midriff. The new skirts are not exactly made for hiking, and even the accessories are whimsically weird. A few more short shots of what else? Short skirts. The girls get a boot out of wearing kooky boots, while the simple act of getting into a car becomes a major maneuver for the short skirt wearer. Wherever and whenever these abbreviated fashions appear, they command attention, while spectators exchange comments, opinions, and, depending on gender, unabashed enthusiasm. It's enough to make a fellow want to go to market every day in the week, as the girls check the local fruit and produce, and the local men check the local girls. A short story about short skirts and joie de vivre. In spring, a young man's fancy tells him it's just delightful to be in a be-in. And that's what this is. Another exotic prank to add to a growing list of student-oriented rites of spring. It's sort of a happy happening for hippies. You're out if you're not in a be-in, the recurring theme of which is love one another. Seattle's be-in is the latest chapter of fresh air frolics, perfect for group therapy. Whatever happened to goldfish swallowing?
Wild thing, I think I love you. But I wanna know for sure. So come on and hold me tight. I love you. Wild thing. Wow.
I really do hate the millennial gray trend and how it's still a thing. And how people don't appreciate that, like, if your room is all painted and furnished in neutral colors, that's an opportunity for you to put highlights of color in your decor. They'll really pop. Instead, no. Everybody's buying gray blankets and gray pillows and gray lamps.
Between the demonstrators and hecklers. A 3-hour parade takes the demonstrators across the Potomac on their way to the Pentagon. The crowd, estimated at about 50,000 persons, was a loose confederation of some 150 groups and included adults, students, even children. It is at the Pentagon where the first test of strength comes. Military police contain the crowd, but clashes soon break out. Federal marshals arrest several who attempt to break through the protective line. Reinforcing the marshals, a second wave of MPs with fixed bayonets in scabbards move into position. Some 400 demonstrators are arrested, 2 soldiers are injured, and tear gas is used. 6 break into a Pentagon side door, but are quickly apprehended in the day-long disturbance. The next day, campfires are lighted to hold off the autumn chill. The same weekend saw nationwide demonstrations supporting American GIs in Vietnam. The Pentagon protest was less violent in its second day of sitting in. The 2-day protest ends with over 600 arrested and the widespread opinion that the demonstration made everyone a loser. At Cam Ranh Bay, South Vietnam, some 15,000 American servicemen get their annual Christmas present from comedian Bob Hope. His 25th anniversary show is standing room only, as delighted GIs roar their approval. Starlet Joey Heatherton, just one of many pretty girls with Hope, makes a cute dancing partner. The soldiers gathered 8 hours before showtime for good seats to view a typical Hope holiday show that would have been familiar to the fathers of these fighting men back in World War II. Rita Faria of Bombay, Miss World, is another beauty who brings the traditional whistles and cheers as familiar to Hope shows as Bob himself. The Korean kittens do their part for military morale, too. Hope's jokes included this one: "My draft board burned my card." A brief but welcome break as Bob Hope helps the troops forget the business of war.
It's crazy that a quarter of those dudes were drafted.
Clear mission this morning, moving back up in through the sector.
They didn't volunteer to go, they just had to.
Came through yesterday. This is going to be a methodical search, house by house, village by village, as we move north.
Please don't throw the My Lai massacre into this fun tape.
Members of the Gulf Company here.
Jesus.
This is the 1st Platoon of Gulf Company, commanded by First Lieutenant Terry Moulton. We're looking for tunnels, caves, anything where the Viet Cong may hide. These Viet Cong are elusive. You can't see them. All you can do is hear the bullets as they come at you. We've been chasing these VCs since 8 o'clock this morning. It's now about 25 minutes until 3 o'clock. So it's been a long haul until we finally found them. Evidently, they decided to stand and fight. You can hear our machine guns in the...
Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again, y'all. Look out. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Listen to me.
I mean, this is a good snapshot, particularly with this song, of the moment in American history where the anti-war movement kind of reached critical mass.
War means tears to thousands of mothers die when their sons go out to fight and lose their lives. I said war. Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Get said again. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Listen to me. It ain't nothing but a heartbreak.
Also, Vietnam was a war where it became very fashionable to make montages of war footage with rock songs.
Blows my mind. War has caused unrest within the younger generation. Induction, then destruction. Who wants to die? Oh, war. Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Sad. War. Oh, yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Listen to me. War. It ain't nothing but a heartbreaker. War. It's got one friend, that's the Undertaker. Oh, war has shattered many a young man's dreams. Made him disabled, bitter and mean. Life is much too short and precious to spend fighting wars each day. War can't give life, it can only take it away. Oh, war! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. War.
God, is this tape really going to end with Vietnam?
Absolutely nothing. Listen to me. War. It ain't nothing but a heartbreaker. War. Friend only to the Undertaker. Please love and understand and tell me it's not no place for them today. They say we must fight to keep our freedom, but Lord knows there's got to be a better way. Oh, wow, God, y'all. What is it good for? You tell them. Say it.
You're a what? I'm a psychedelic poster expert.
You mean you paint them?
Oh, no, I read them.
You read them?
Well, like I translate them.
Oh.
I mean, that's my bag.
Oh, I see. I don't suppose everybody can do that.
Oh, no.
Could you translate this poster for us?
Sure. Jefferson Airplane, Fillmore Auditorium, September 26th.
That's amazing. Yeah, well, you have good light to do that.
No, you need a bad light.
Bad light?
Oh, yeah, bad light, man.
Oh, I see. Could you translate this poster for us, please?
Yeah. Well, that's groovy lettering. I never saw that one before. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. It's heavy. I mean, it's like the guy who said that, the loving the world and all. I mean, he knows where it's at.
Would you believe that the man who said that said it nearly 2,000 years ago?
Wow. He was really ahead of his time.
That's great. All right, thank you, Alan Boyd. That was, yeah, I didn't expect that to be as fun as it was. Other than you really can't talk about the 60s without getting into Vietnam.
This has been a presentation of Halcyon Days Productions, man.
Oh, that was Granny. All right. Oh, wow. No, on the whole, I would say that was not depressing. Yeah. My favorite Vietnam War song is Sam Stone by John Prine. There's a really good rendition by Swamp Dogg. It's about a Vietnam veteran who's so destroyed by his experience that he slowly dies of heroin addiction. There's a hole in Daddy's arm where all the money goes. Jesus Christ died for nothing, I suppose. Anyway, that was a fun tape, wasn't it? We've learned quite a bit today. Very happy. Look how fucking happy we are. We learned to play the guitar flawlessly, completely in 15 minutes. Chicka Chicka Boom Boom was excellent. A real sobering look at, like, you know, the world from 1994. And we had a fun rockumentary. God, that's a tight squeeze. All right. That's going to be it for our stream to Sombre Noir. No. Need some points for bingo. Let's do that. Sombre Noir, 1,000 points. Congrats on the bingo win. All right. There you go. Enjoy. Let's see. I'm being a little spotty with the schedule lately. So plan on Saturday. Plan on not having one on Wednesday, but I reserve the right to surprise you. It depends on how I'm feeling and what I've got going on. And yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for being here, everybody. We got a lot of more tapes. We got a lot more tapes on the shelf. We got a lot more tapes in boxes. We got a lot more tapes everywhere, overflowing. So we're gonna keep on keeping on as long as we're having fun. I've had fun. I hope you have too. See you next time. Have a lovely week.